You wake up in your hab unit, or rather, your hab coffin, the kind of place where you can stretch your legs or breathe deeply, but never both at the same time. The air tastes like rusted metal and regret, piped in from vents older than most civilizations. You've got 16 hours to survive your shift and maybe, just maybe, not die horribly. Welcome to your life on a Hive world. Hive worlds are where the Imperium hides most of its population. Massive, decaying city planets packed with tens of billions of desperate souls clawing for existence. Towering mega-arcologies stretch into the clouds, each one a vertical labyrinth of steel, smoke, and suffering. The spires scrape the heavens. The underhive scrapes the bottom of hell. You're somewhere in the middle, not that it matters. Every level smells like fear and ammonia. The planet you're on doesn't have a name you'll ever know. It might have once been called Prosperitas or Nova Magna, back before it was strip-mined, smog-choked, and forgotten by every Imperial cartographer with a brain. Now it's just another cog in the Emperor's great machine. Your job? Keep the cog turning or die trying. South, how do you survive a single day on a Hive world? Let's find out. Your day starts with the sound of someone screaming, not out of fear, just someone trying to be heard over the industrial-grade buzz of ductwork and a malfunctioning Voxhaler blaring Imperial propaganda on loop. Your hab unit, if you're lucky enough to have your own, is about 2 square meters of rusted metal, flickering lumen strips, and a bunk that doubles as your storage, seating, and coffin when the power goes out, which it does, frequently. The walls are thin enough that you know your neighbor snores like a sump-crew-thound and possibly eats rats. You don't ask questions. Some of your neighbors are harmless, most aren't. One of them might be a failed chem pusher with a grudge. Another might be a mutant with just enough self-control not to get lynched. And the rest? Just like you, exhausted, bitter, and praying to the Emperor they make it to payday without being caught in a loyalty audit. Your meals come from a dispenser that hasn't been cleaned since M32, and it churns out a protein paste that tastes vaguely like glue and despair. It's technically food, just not by any definition that would comfort you. Your water's recycled too, and you're not entirely sure from what. It's better not to think about it. Every floor of the hab-block is a disaster waiting to happen. Elevator collapses are common enough that most residents take the stairs, though that's a gamble too, since stairwell muggings are a daily ritual. Fires break out when some spark jockey overloads a wall socket or a corpse starch fryer goes nuclear. And if that doesn't get you, the Arbites might. They'll raid your floor looking for contraband, mutants, or just to remind you who's in charge. They don't knock. There's no privacy, no security, no peace. Just the slow, grinding pressure of a world designed to keep you barely alive and utterly obedient. And this is still the safe part of your day. Your shift starts in an hour. An Emperor help you if you're late? Of course, your workplace is 30 levels up and half a sector over, and the only thing between you and it is a commute that kills thousands every day. Literally. You start by squeezing through the hab-blocks access corridors, narrow tunnels barely wide enough for 2 people to pass, assuming nobody's been crushed by falling ductwork or stabbed over a ration chit. Once you're out, it's onto the walkways, thin metal bridges bolted between hive towers, swaying in the toxic wind a full kilometer above the ground. There are no guardrails, there is no safety net. A single shove, or a misstep, or just a strong gust, and you're a smear on the lower levels. That's assuming the walkway hasn't already collapsed under the weight of too many bodies. You could try the public transit rail. Could. It's essentially a moving death trap. Packed so tight you can't breathe, overseen by half-broken servitors, and plagued by spontaneous riots. 12% of commuters don't make it. Some fall, some are pushed, some get knifed by pickpockets who panic when caught. And then there's the gangers who treat the trains like their personal hunting ground. They'll tax you for walking on their turf or gut you for looking at them wrong. Your best defense is to not stand out, or to stand behind someone slower. Most people who die on a Hive world aren't killed by war or monsters. They die because they were in the wrong place at the wrong time. A collapsing overpass, a sudden purge, a random shootout between enforcers and gangers, a structural failure that wipes out an entire floor and everyone in it. It's not personal, it's not targeted, it's just life. So when you finally arrive at your place of work, alive, intact and unstabbed, you take a moment to be grateful. You're already beating the odds. You clock in by thumbprint and retina scan. The machine beeps red twice before grudgingly letting you in. You're already 3 minutes late. That means a 20% ration cut for the week, assuming your overseer doesn't decide to make an example of you first. Welcome to your job. Or more accurately, your sentence. You might be feeding the auto factories, jamming raw materials into cogitators that don't care if your arm gets caught. Maybe you're in corpse processing, where the only thing worse than the smell is the risk of catching something the disinfectant servitors missed. Or you're on chemical refinery duty, which is a polite way of saying you will inhale something today that kills you 10 years from now. That's the best case scenario. Nobody works alone. You and a dozen others grind through 12-hour shifts under the red glow of lumen strips, all while the overseer watches from a crow's nest with a shock maul and a las pistol. Quotas aren't suggestions, they're commandments. If one station falls behind, the whole team pays, sometimes in beatings, sometimes in blood. Occasionally, someone just disappears. The rest of you work faster afterward. And for this generous arrangement, you don't get thrones, you get tokens. Little stamped bits of metal that let you trade for recycled protein paste, water reclaimed from your own sweat, or if you're lucky, a nutrient bar with something resembling flavor. Don't ask where it came from. You wouldn't want to know. There are no promotions, no raises, no retirement. The only way out is death or enlistment. And frankly, the guard might be safer. At some point during your 16-hour survival attempt, someone will knock, and they won't be wearing a uniform, not an official one anyway. First up, the local gang. They call themselves the Black Sump Sons, or the Pipe Dogs, or the Third Spire Kings. Names change, the deal doesn't. You pay protection tokens, or your hab unit gets torched with you inside it. They're the neighborhood's unofficial law enforcement, extortion ring, and youth mentorship program all in one. If you say no, you can also say goodbye. To your life, I mean. Then come the whispers. The neighbor who never talked to you suddenly offers a pamphlet, something about liberation through suffering, or truth in the flesh. Cultists don't wear robes and chant in public. This isn't a cartoon. They're the guy next to you at the protein line, asking if you've awakened yet. Join them, and you might get power, or you might wake up skinned alive in a ritual circle. Depends on the day, really. And just when you think you've avoided both, the redemptionists show up. Picture fire and brimstone street preachers, but with actual fire. They think your block is impure because it is, and that the only way to cleanse it is with promethium and screams. They don't ask questions. They don't leave survivors. If you hear chanting and the smell of incense mixed with gasoline, run. This is what passes for community outreach in a hive. You either pick a side or get crushed between them. And no matter who you choose, you are a pawn and will probably die soon enough anyway. You made it through your shift. You didn't fall off a walkway or catch a last bolt in a crossfire. Congratulations. Now comes the part that kills most people. The night. When the chronoglyphs tick past 1800, the Hive dims. Not just metaphorically. The lumen strips flicker out, tower by tower, as the Administratum powers down entire sectors to conserve energy. It's not a power outage. It's policy. You live in one of the non-essential districts. And guess what? That means no lights, no surveillance, and no help. With the shadows come the scavengers. Gangs stop pretending to be civil. They roam openly, dragging chains, brandishing makeshift flamers, and settling scores. It's no longer about power. It's about fear, blood, and boredom. If you weren't paying protection earlier, now's when that bill comes due, with interest. The Planetary Defense Force? They're posted at the spire gates, polishing their boots and ignoring distress vox signals from the lower habs. No one's risking their life to save some ration-tier nobodies. And the Arbites? If they come down here at all, it's for a purge, not a rescue. And if the grid collapses because some underhive recycler cut the wrong cable or a cultist decided to free the machine spirit, then your block is cooked. No door seals, no communications, just cold, stale air and the sound of people clawing their way through ventilation shafts. When that happens, the only thing left to do is pray. But you don't know which god is listening anymore, and the ones that answer, well, they tend to ask for something back. There's no rule book for staying alive in a hive, no helpful data slate, no saintly voice whispering advice in your ear. If you want to last the day, you'll need a little awareness, a lot of caution, and just enough paranoia to keep breathing. Survival isn't about being clever, it's about not being noticed. The first thing you learn is that escape routes matter more than friends. Every hab-block has forgotten passages, rusted maintenance tunnels, broken lift shafts, corpse disposal chutes that lead deeper into the dark. Learn them, use them, never talk about them. If someone else finds your bolt hole, it's no longer yours. Blending in is your second shield. Don't speak unless spoken to. Don't wear anything that catches the eye. Don't ask questions. If a gang demands a donation, give what you can afford to lose. If a cult member locks eyes with you, smile like you're interested and keep moving. Standing out in the hive is a great way to vanish. You'll also want something sharp nearby. A broken pipe, a jagged tool, anything that might buy you a second of hesitation from someone who means you harm. You're not trying to win a fight. You're trying to make it too inconvenient to kill you today. When dealing with others, remember that trust is a luxury. No one gives out favors without expecting something in return. If someone saves your life, you're already in debt. If someone's being too friendly, there's a reason, and it won't be good. Use people when you must, but don't mistake cooperation for loyalty. Sleep is another game entirely. If you can lock your hab unit door, you've already beaten half the odds. If you can't, don't sleep at night. Rest when the lights are on and the overseers are watching. At least then, your neighbors are busy trying not to die at work instead of looting your body. And finally, pay attention to the quiet. A hive is never silent. If the vents stop humming, if the pipes stop groaning, if the walls stop weeping, something is wrong. Something is moving. Something worse than the usual. Don't speak. Don't look. Just disappear. Let's take stock. You made it through the work shift without collapsing. You avoided eye contact with the gang boys, didn't answer the cultist's question, and managed to look too poor to rob but too healthy to eat. Arbites didn't kick in your hab unit door, and the power only flickered twice during the power outage. Congratulations, you survived. Now get some rest, because tomorrow you do it all over again. Same shift, same danger, same hell. And no, there's no promotion, no escape, no hope for things to get better. Just another day carved out of rot and rust. And remember, this wasn't some backwater death world or chaos-infested war zone. This is a normal Imperial planet. Billions live like this every single day. The Hive isn't broken. It's functioning exactly as intended. If you want more survival guides from the darkest corners of the Imperium, hit that like button and subscribe. Comment below with the next place you want to try and survive. Maybe a death world, a Krieg trench line, or even the Underhive itself. Just remember, knowledge won't save you, but it might buy you a few more hours.